Hello and welcome to the VickyCharles.com podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. For those who don't know, I am a blogger and social media trainer, and I'm here to help you with all of your blog and social media needs. The show notes for this and all previous podcasts can be found at VickyCharles.com/podcast, and you can sign up to my mailing list to download a free sheet of social media tips at VickyCharles.com/social. This week's episode, number 46, is 10 ways to improve your Facebook engagement. So let's get started. So welcome to episode number 46 of the VickyCharles.com podcast. This week's episode is 10 ways to improve your Facebook engagement. And my first tip is to ask a question and care what the answer is. So what I mean by that is ask people for ideas, ask them for their opinion, ask them for their preference, and either or something that's going to get them to answer you. But when they answer, you need to care what they've said. So go back with with a follow-up question, or how do you feel about this, or what about this part of it, or what do I do about that part? Something that's going to get people to keep commenting. And you're not doing that to try and trick people into commenting. You're doing that to try and build engagement and build a community around you. There are two reasons for that. The first reason is to do with engagement, in that if somebody comments on your post and you respond and they respond to that comment, every time somebody comments on your post, it can potentially be shown in their newsfeed. So-and-so commented on VickyCharles.com's post. So other people can see it, and if it's a particularly engaging topic or something that their friends are interested in, their friends might come and comment as well, that therefore getting you more reach and more engagement. So you want people to keep commenting basically and to come back and reply to you. The second reason is that it's just polite. it's rude to ask somebody a question and have them answer you and you not respond. I would say with this, basically what you're doing is acknowledging that somebody's taken the time to comment on what you've said, to give you an answer, to give you their opinion, their advice, whatever. And quite often these days most people are using their mobile phones to do that, so we all know how tricky it can be trying to write a comment on a mobile phone with autocorrect and all of that rubbish. So they've taken the effort. At least go and respond to them. What I will say here is if you've asked a question, should I do A or B, and you get 50 A's and 50 B's, don't go and respond to every single comment there. People aren't expecting you to reply to that comment. Like every comment so they know that you've read their comment and you're acknowledging it, but then at the bottom just put a kind of a blanket, wow, thanks everyone for your input, this is what I'm going with, or this is what I've decided, something like that. So again, you're acknowledging everybody and you're saying thank you for taking the time. If people feel that you're engaging with them, they'll come back again. My second tip for improving your Facebook engagement is to show your personality. Now this has two sides to it really. What I mean is, post selfies behind the scenes, things like that, so that it's not just dry kind of, this is my website, visit my website, stuff like that, and you're showing that you're a real person, or if it's a company, you show real people, show what really goes on behind the scenes, interesting things like that. People find that interesting. If they really like your bakery, then they want to see what happens in the ovens, or things like that. Make the most of that. Show the personality. The second part of this is, a lot of people will tell you, be vanilla on social media, don't start any arguments, and then you'll get more followers. And that might be true, but you'll get more followers who are just kind of nonplussed about you. So they're not going to be raving fans. They're not going to be an action-taking, engaged audience who really care who you are and what you stand for, because ultimately they don't know who you are or what you stand for. And they don't particularly care. So you might have legions of fans. You might have 10,000 fans on your Facebook page, but realistically, if you then put up a post saying, I don't know, I'm doing a skydive to raise money for this, you probably wouldn't get much of a response, because people just, they don't really know who you are or care why you would do that, or, they don't know anything about you. Don't be rude or lewd or deliberately offensive. But if you're posting about the things that you feel strongly about, perhaps it's politics or parenting or, something like that, you're showing people who you are. And yes, when you do that, you are going to get people who will unlike your page. But those people are not your people. Your vibe attracts your tribe, as they say, and you need to make sure that you show your vibe, show yourself, so that you're attracting the right people to you. Because when it comes to the point when you want people to buy something from you, or sponsor you for something, or take action in some way, the only people who are going to take action are the people who really connect with you, who really respond to you, who are really interested in what you're doing. The other people, the people who would have been, who would have liked your page because you weren't particularly offensive and, they didn't care either way, they're not going to care either way enough to put their hand in their pocket or to give you their email address or to go to your blog and read it, because they just don't care about you. And that's a really important thing to bear in mind, that I think a lot of us tend to leave behind in the name of just gaining as many followers as possible. My third tip for improving your Facebook engagement is to be funny. I love this one because it's one of my favourites. I mean, just, crack a joke every now and then. Not a rude joke. You don't need to be offensive or, just crack jokes about certain members of society or something, or groups in society. You don't need to be rude. But, post a funny picture, post a cartoon. I posted one the other day that was, it was captioned IKEA interview, and it's the interviewer saying, please come in and take a seat, and there's a flat pack of a chair on the floor. Silly things like that. People love that, and they'll love to engage with that and share on it. And even if they only post ha 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 as a comment, they've commented when they wouldn't have done before. So try and be funny so that people will want to engage with you. People like funny people. My fourth tip for improving your Facebook engagement is to put yourself in your reader's position. I listened to a podcast a while ago where a lady was saying that when she writes her blog, she writes it imagining her reader as having the worst day ever. So she writes it in language to kind of be nice and nurturing and caring, and to make them feel better about their bad day. And that's something you can really bring into your Facebook. So, make it so that it's a nice place for people to come and read what you're saying and things like that. But also, when I say put yourself in your reader's position, I mean, think about, if I saw this on Facebook, would I comment on it? Would I like it? Would I share it? Do I care? If you don't care, if you wouldn't like it or comment on it, don't expect other people to at all. And certainly not with sharing. The psychology of sharing, people have said the psychology of sharing, when people share your post, they do it because of how it will make them look to their audience. So they might share something to make them look well read, or politically engaged, or interesting, or funny. And that's what they're looking for on your page. So post something that will make people feel like they want to share because it will make them look good in some way, basically. My fifth tip for improving your Facebook engagement is to do a caption crowdsource. So find a funny picture, take a picture yourself, find a picture of a celebrity, something that's been in the media recently, and say, who can caption this picture? This picture's funny, isn't it? Who can caption it? Things like that. People really respond to things like that. If you find a good picture, people will try and caption it, especially if it's of a celebrity or an MP or something. People like to take the mickey out of people in the public eye, so they'll love to find a funny picture, and they'll love if you find a funny picture, and they'll want to caption it, hopefully. I would say with this, make sure that you post it at the time of day when a lot of people will be online, because if you post it at 3 a.m, assuming that most of your fans are not online at 3 a.m, you're not going to get much of a response, and you're going to think it's kind of a dud idea. Really, you need to post when there's going to be a lot of people about, so that they can all get joined in with it, really. My sixth way to improve your Facebook engagement is to share quotes. Now, you can create quote cards yourself using Canva. You can source quotes from wherever and create quote cards and put your website name or your Facebook name on the quote cards, so that if they get shared, people know where they've come from. That's a great way of getting the word out about yourself. But if you don't have the time or the inclination to do that, you can just share a text quote, like people do on Twitter quite a lot. In fact, if you search the hashtag quotes on Twitter, that's where you'll find a lot of great quotes that you can share. So you can just do it by text, and people will like, share and comment, hopefully, with that. Or you can directly share from other people's pages. So if you find a page that shares a lot of great quotes, then directly share from there. They will be happy that you do that, because they will get the extra reach and engagement from it. And hopefully, if you've shared something that's of value to your audience, then you will also get engagement from it. My seventh tip for improving your Facebook engagement is a really simple one. Ask people to tag, like, or share. So things like tag a friend who would like this cake, or tag a friend who would like this. Things like that. Don't just say, can you just like my post? I really, really don't like when people post Facebook's rules and Facebook's algorithms, the meaning that nobody's seeing my post, so can you just like my post so that I can see how many people can like it? That is rubbish, because everybody knows that analytics show you how many people have seen your post. When people post, can you just like my post so that I can see that you've seen it? What they're trying to do is basically to trick you into liking their post, because then more of their posts will turn up in your newsfeed ultimately. And I don't like that. I don't think that's a good way of doing it. But if you say, like my post if you like this if you think this, or some of them are, you know, like an A/B split. So there's two pictures, and, you know, like this post if you think A is the right thing, or share this post if you think B is the right thing. I find those a little bit kind of yucky in terms of doing it, because, you know, I can see when I see that, I can see what people are up to, and it kind of bothers me. But I don't have any problem with you just openly saying, I love that, you know, I really love this, I'd love if you'd share this so that I can get it out to a wider audience, or if you appreciate what I've done here, please like this post, or please share this post. Be honest about asking people to do it. And with the tagging people as well, that's kind of, you're honestly saying tag somebody who would like this, and nobody's going to tag somebody who isn't going to like it, or that, you know, nobody's going to take the time to tag somebody if they don't want to, basically. So just be honest about what you're doing and asking people to do. Don't try and do what's that one, like, one like is one bit of respect for this dog with no legs. That's rubbish. I'm sure it gets a lot of people liking and comment on it, and if that's your thing, then that's your thing, but for me it really turns me off and I don't like it. My 8th tip to improve your Facebook engagement is to respond to comments. So I mentioned this in point 1, but I really feel like it bears mentioning again and again. Respond to people's comments, create a conversation. Is the best way to get engagement is to be engaged, is to engage with people. So you wouldn't go to a networking event or a blogging event and stand in the corner, and people would say hello to you, and you'd go, and look away, and then go home and go, nobody spoke to me the whole weekend. Or maybe you would do that. Maybe you're that sort of person, I don't know. But realistically, if you want people to talk to you, you have to talk back to them. So ask a question, like I said in option 1, or, you know, anytime anybody comments on your post, respond to them, create a conversation, remember things about them. So you know, I get the same people comment on my post, and I remember who they are. I try and remember things about them, and you know, go, oh, did your daughter do that too, or is that your son that likes this, or, you know, things like that to kind of build up. And if in any situation, if somebody has remembered any sort of detail about you, especially in this day and age where we struggle to remember our relatives' birthdays, then people go, they're kind of touched by it, and they kind of think, oh, that's really nice, I'm glad you remember that. This is a nice person. They will associate you with being a nice person, and that's what you want, basically. My 9th tip for improving your Facebook engagement is to source and share from other pages. So I mentioned this briefly in option number 6. The idea is I use my homepage on my Facebook page, Single Mother Ahoy, has its own separate homepage, and I use that to like pages that produce great content. So BuzzFeed is an obvious one, but, you know, maybe news sites, pages that are relevant to what your page is about. You want to go in and like some pages that are relevant to your page, and then you've got loads of stuff on you go to your homepage, you've got loads of stuff that you can share across to your page. As long as you're sharing it directly, you're not stealing somebody else's content, you're helping them to gain engagement, so they'll like it. And if you're curating decent content, good content from all over Facebook, people are going to be interested in what you're sharing. As long as you're not sharing, as long as every single post isn't shared from somewhere else, and you are putting your own content on there, sharing from other pages is a great way to make sure that you're still updating your page when you can't think of something to say, and also a great way of getting engaging content. So if you find a post on, I don't know, the BBC News website that's already had a good few likes and shares, you know that it's obviously engaging. If it's something that's relevant to what you post on your page normally, then share it across to your page. Don't be put off by the fact that it's already been shared 1,000 times, because there are billions of people on Facebook, and the likelihood is that even if it's been shared a lot of times, a lot of the people on your timeline won't have seen it, and they'll want to see it if it's something that's relevant to them. My 10th tip for improving your Facebook engagement is to share it to your personal profile. Now, don't do this, I wouldn't even do this once a day, probably once a week. If I've posted something on one of my pages that I think is relevant to the people, my family and friends on my personal profile, then I will share it. So at the moment I am promoting some Facebook workshops that I'm running and Twitter workshops that I'm running. So when I've posted about those on my business page, I've shared those to my personal page because it's a local thing, and I know that there are local people on my personal page that don't like my business page yet. So it kind of pulls it across. Also, anytime that you post a selfie or a picture of yourself, tag yourself in it. And if you post pictures of your friends, your clients, your colleagues, whoever, tag those in it as well, because then that will show on their newsfeed, so-and-so was tagged in this picture. people will come to your page to see the picture, and they might well stick around. They might